gets in there before me every time, but just to remind everyone that the meeting is being recorded. We're going to call to order the 8th meeting of the Baltimore County Police Council Board at this time. We're going to begin with our roll call by district. District 1.
Fitzpatrick for District 1.
District 2, yours truly, present. District 3, Ralph Dennis is absent, trapped at the airport. District 4.
Yes, Anthony and Jake Chambers present.
And District 5, Renee had a family emergency and is not with us today. District 6, as you know, is still vacant. District 7.
DeShaun-Feurer.
And at-large members, Nigeria, you're rolling forward. Ms. Rolling Forward advised she'll be joining us a little later. And also our other at-large member.
Kara White. Present.
Thank you so much. So with that, we do have a quorum. We will begin. And we're going to start with our review and approval of our May 15th, 2023 meeting agenda. We trust everyone had minutes. We trust you had an opportunity to review them. Are there any questions? If no questions, then I would move that the minutes for May 15, 2023 be adopted as written. And we have a second. With that, we're going to adopt the minutes for May 15, 2023. We're going to move now to our administrative updates, and I'll turn it over to Henry to bring us up to date.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So just a couple right now. The first is an update on the Administrative Charging Committee, which had its first meeting on June 9th, Friday, June 9th. It is actually having its next meeting today at 3 p.m. before we sort of settle into a more routine meeting schedule. And those are on the website. The next two meetings after today's will be Friday, July 21st at 1 p.m. and Friday, August 18th, also at 1 p.m. The Administrative Charging Committee is required to meet at least monthly. Those will be in Jefferson Hearing Room 104, which is a bit more conducive to the business of the ACC. That's right across the street, sort of, if you're facing east, sort of diagonally, kind of across from where the gardens are in front of the courthouse. So Dawn will have more information on the ACC. She is our ACC designee from the PAB, working double duty today. And there's an additional point I want to add in here that's not on the agenda, and that has to do with compensation. Since I know a lot of members have been asking about that, the Baltimore County Council introduced legislation that would codify the level of compensation for the PAB, as well as other boards and commissions in Baltimore County. They will be voting on that legislation a week from today, on the 3rd. So once that is resolved, we can begin to move forward with compensation per the terms of the statute there. They've already had the work session on that. They had it last week, so now it's coming up for a vote. And then in terms of vacancies, I wanted to congratulate Fitzpatrick for being renominated to serve as the District 1 PAB member for a full 3-year term by the county executive.
You're not screwing something up.
Congratulations.
Likewise, Renee Strive has been renominated by the county executive for District 5, District 6. Of course, that is a position that was vacated back in January, and Scott Richmond is the nominee for that position as well. The county council will address their nominations as to each of those positions based on their schedule and the availability of the nominees as well. So that is everything I have on the administrative end, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
From there.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
The compensation, we all got one paper check, and you said you thought it was for the first quarter of 2023.
Yes, we're
Can
still.
you clarify that? Because
Yes.
I have a W-2 for 2022.
Yes, I will.
My tax guy's gonna be unhappy if it's a.
Yes, and that's something where I'm working with payroll to get clarity on that.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
should be able to get that information out, and then also again, pending the council addressing that legislation, we can
Okay.
move forward with that going forward. So there'll be regularity after that. And I apologize for the inconvenience that it's caused.
I just want to check because like it's on amended return if it wasn't for the tax year that we put it in for.
Yep, and I'm gonna clarify that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Henry. We're fortunate today to have a full agenda and presentations by 3 different groups of interested parties, and we're very grateful for the interest that has been taken. We're going to begin with a presentation by Momen Abukhdeir. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. And he is Chief Data and Performance Officer for Baltimore County. Momen, we'll turn it over to you. Thank you again.
Thank you. So this is, we have a, is it on this laptop?
Yes.
So we have a county executive when I was first hired and when you first started, wanted to bring more transparency, especially around the police department, but a lot of other areas as well, like code enforcement, health, etc. But police was the focus, and we created a lot of public-facing dashboards with data available to the public around traffic stops, around crime, and one of the ones I'll be talking about and walking you through today, and again, all of this is public and online, is we call it the Baltimore County Police Data Dashboard, but realistically it is the Internal Affairs Dashboard. It has complaints and use of force. So when you go to the website, you come into this specific page, and then you can submit a complaint or a compliment, and you click on View Data Dashboards, and it gives you 2 different dashboards that we have on this one tool. One is around uses of force, and the other is about complaints. And just here's some background information. I'm not going to go through it too much, but again, obviously the use of force. There's an incident they're mandated to report. Baltimore Police Department's mandated to report that use of force incident. Now you'll look at the data when we go to that dashboard, and you'll see that it is through June 30th, 2022. So it's about a year old is the most recent data that's in there. That reason is specifically because there was changes in legislation and federal guidance about how to report uses of force, and we're working through that and hope that in the next month we'll have the entire year through June of 2023 posted as well for uses of force. For complaint, the complaint dashboard for any complaint, there's 2 types of complaints. There's administrative complaints, which are self-initiated by the police department internally. It could be for anything, missing court hearings, etc. But also if there's a suspected abuse or some sort of misconduct that was excuse me, that was found that they found out about internally, and then there's also the complaint, the constituent complaints that come in from outside, from residents. So I'll start off with the use of force dashboard, and feel free to jump in at any time and ask me any questions. But overall, you see that the data is from January 2015 through, again, June 30th, 2022. You have the ability to toggle here to pick any date range to see how things have changed month over month. You can pick any time frame during that process. You look at the totals by year on the top graph, use of force incidents over time, with a line graph to make it more visually easier for any resident to look through this information. You have the officer demographics that was involved in the use of force. You also have the individual that was subject to the use of force, their gender and demographic information as well. Again, you have the age of the individual involved, and we also look at the years of service for the officer that was involved. And then on the right, you'll see that it's the type of force that was utilized, so whether it's hand, fist, OC spray, taser, knee, etc. You have the percent breakdown in terms of all of the uses of force and what type. And then on the bottom right, you see the incident type involving force. That is usually the situation that occurred that then resulted in force. So they received the call for, say, a potential second-degree assault or whatever the case may be. They came into that situation, and then the use of force was used in that issue. So there's theft, there's domestic abuse, etc. And then you can obviously filter on the top by the year that you're interested in, or even the reason for the force. So non-commercial first-degree assault, animal bites, etc. You have that all over there. Any questions about use of force data in this dashboard? Yes.
Is it possible to correlate use of force and incident type, or use of force type with incident type?
Use of force.
So, for example, is it
Yes.
a service weapon with
Yes.
warrant service?
Yes, we can. You're talking about so whether it's hand fist in relation to domestic abuse.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Yeah, we can definitely pull that for you if that's something you're interested in seeing. You can't do it from the dashboard.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's available.
Any other questions on use of force? Okay.
One more question.
Yeah.
Once you have the updated criteria or plan, what is the frequency of updates going to be for that?
So usually for all of these, it's about quarterly. So you wait 3 months, and then we give a month buffer period. So for example, the complaint data you'll see is through March 31st, and then it'll be posted through June 30th of this year at the end of July. So I have to pull up the complaint dashboard. And then the complaint dashboard has a similar feel to it. That data begins, where we feel accurate about that data begins in January 2017. And then it goes through again, as you can see, March 31st, 2023. Similar, the red and the black, the two different things being administrative investigations and then citizen complaints. Again, that's what I described in the beginning in terms of the difference of something that's self-initiated within the police department or that comes in through a citizen. The red is the citizen, and the administrative investigations are the black. There are times that this was noted that there are times where, for example, a citizen may go into a precinct and then the officer puts in the complaint on behalf of them, and that sometimes may be coded as an administrative investigation sometimes as well. So some of those, the black category is, potentially citizen complaints that just didn't come in through an appropriate way to be coded and such. And then you have the involved officers' years of service, just similar to the use of force, gender, demographics, age of the individual involved. You also have the officer demographics and the individual demographics, gender and race. You also have the case by the allegation, whether it's unnecessary force. And you have the whole breakdown here. And any of these that you're interested in, you can just click on the top right of any of those charts, and it's a focus mode, and it'll just kind of bring it up so you can better see it. And that's for any of the dashboards. And then finally, the last thing here on the bottom right, cases by disposition, whether or not they were sustained, unfounded, exonerated, not sustained, file only. These are a lot of complicated categories, but this is the way that they're sort of determined within the police department. And there's specific, and I can provide those exact definitions for each of those codes. Any questions on complaint data? Okay. The only request that I have is that if there is specific data that you all are interested in, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We will work with you to provide that, and especially if there's information that you think is valuable to the community to be posted online as well. That's it for me.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
At this time, our next presentation will be by Romel Marmolejos, the Director of Public Safety for the Community College Baltimore. Thank you so much for coming.
I'm happy to be here. I am not Vernell.
Yeah.
She is on vacation.
Okay.
I am Melissa Hopp. I'm the Vice President of Administrative Services at the Community College of Baltimore County.
I apologize, Ms. Hopp.
No,
Thank you for coming.
no. And I am joined by Ms. Sherena Long. Sherena is the Assistant Director of Public Safety at, she is in charge of our CCBC Essex campus, our public safety.
Ms. Long, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So we do have a presentation, but knowing how these things go, we'll be happy to hand it out. Yeah, you're pulling it up, right? Yeah, great. There you go. So I thank you for the opportunity to present to the Police Accountability Board. We are happy to be here, although technically, since we are not a sworn agency, We're not officially under your purview. That said, we want to be transparent and, we think that we're part of the law enforcement community and we certainly want to share with you. So our mission, of course, is to ensure the safety of everyone on our college campuses. We, many of you know Essex Community College, Dundalk Community College, and Catonsville Community College. We've actually all merged. So CCBC is those three larger institutions plus 4 extension centers. And our public safety officers are responsible for all of them. If you wouldn't mind clicking for me. So let me just kind of give you a sense of our department. We have command staff, the director, Vernell, who I'll have to say she's on the beach in Aruba, so she's probably not wishing that she was here. But Vernell is my direct report as the director, and then she has 3 assistant directors, 1 for each of the larger campuses. And Ms. Long is in charge of the Essex campus. We have 35 special police officers that hold the commission as special police. We have part-time officers who are not commissioned. We call them certified and non-certified, but part-time officers that help us with those less vital tasks, room unlocks, things like that. And then at our extension centers, we have some contractual guards that again help us with those lower level tasks. We have a full-time dispatch center that's located at the Essex campus, but is used for all of our campuses. We have college-wide radio communications, of course, a call center with recorded lines, much like 911. And it is staffed by dispatchers with real-world experience, many of whom were previously worked at 911. We have some, what I'll call support infrastructure. We have over 500 cameras on all of our sites that we use to investigate crimes when they occur. And we have very robust emergency communication systems, both to people and from people to dispatch, both ways. When we, the police, the kind of things that they do, our special police, of course, at all of our campuses, we have over 47,000 students, 3,000 employees, and of course, thousands of visitors. The officer's job, of course, is to handle, and most of what they do is handle routine calls for service. But they do respond to medical calls, non-medical emergencies. They investigate crimes and make arrests when necessary. There's not a large number of that, but it does occur. And when that does occur, so for example, I know right now we have a theft from the bookstore that is currently scheduled for court this month. And then they work with many other agencies. Of course, we're very happy with their relationship with the Baltimore County Police Department. I'm going to ask Assistant Director Long to kind of talk about their training.
So CCBC provides extensive special police training, over 80 hours of the state mandated training, but they also go beyond that with 16 hours of additional SPO training that's offered by the school's continuing education department. And that's to any statewide SPO candidate that wants to participate. There's 120 hours of academy training. It includes a plethora of topics, patrol, procedures, first responder, crowd control, mental health, first aid, de-escalation, which I think is very vital in this field, and report writing. Then there's 120 hours of field training that's done by our senior officers that have been trained to do field training. And then we have a 3-week summer academy or an institute that the criminal justice program puts on this training, and it covers criminal law, investigation, civil law and liability, courtroom testimony, and control dangerous substance, among things. And then one other thing.
I'm gonna pause just for a minute and say, so this is what CCBC does for its special police. The state mandate is 80 hours. So you can see we're going significantly beyond that.
Yes.
Go ahead.
In addition to our annual in-service training, which is not listed, but that is part of our training. And then CCBC's officers' equipment, they do not carry firearms. Officers do not carry firearms at CCBC, but they are armed with conducted electrical weapons, which is a taser. And they receive 32 hours of initial taser training and then another 8 hours of recertification training biannually. The officers also carry asbatons and handcuffs and OC chemical spray. Our use of force policy is consistent, that officers only use the force that is objectively reasonable, necessary under the totality of circumstances, and proportional to the threat or resistance of a subject. So there's no use of force tolerated, excessive force is tolerated at CCBC. Any use of force complaint or excessive force complaint would be immediately investigated by the first line supervisor, and it goes through the chain of command for review and to ensure that all areas are covered. And within 72 hours of that investigation, the information is then uploaded into our automated records management system. All the photographs, the investigation reports that's been gathered, are all documented. And then, depending on the facts and outcome of the investigation, disciplinary action would ensue, or training, whatever is necessary in the situation. All use of force incidents are investigated. In the last 5 years, CCBC has only had 3 incidences of use of force, and all of them were in compliance with our policy. I think it's impressive because I came from Baltimore. We had hundreds of cases. So it's definitely different, but it's very consistent and very robust system that they have in place.
So Assistant Director Long didn't share with you that we were lucky enough to hire her after a 35-year career at Baltimore City Police Department. So I want to just kind of go over, obviously, our services, and we've also provided to you, attached to your document, a fact sheet that you can learn about our services. And a lot of what we do is related to emergency preparedness. Heaven forbid there should be an active shooter, a severe weather circumstance, a bomb threat, a fire, any of those occasions. Our job, you can imagine, with 47,000 students, our job is to train people ahead of time. So every semester, we conduct drills about the first or second week of the semester for everyone to participate in. We have a considerable, we do a considerable effort on those drills to train not only our faculty and staff, but our students as well. The officers, of course, focus on their medical response. They are all certified in Narcan. I can't say that. Narcan. I'm not saying it right. That's naloxone or something. The AD, CPR, and the mental health first aid. That's a particular issue with students. And I think our most common call is for a seizure. And then they do routine first aid. They also do a whole lot of routine services, and that should be the bulk of what they do, patrol escorts, battery jumps, just helping out. Lastly, I want to share that there are about 1,800 community colleges in the nation. And I'm very proud that this year, of all 1,800 community colleges, CCBC won the award for community college safety, emergency preparedness, and leadership. We received this award in April. We are very proud of the work that we do to, as we compare ourselves to our peers. So that concludes our presentation, but of course, we're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Congratulations on the success. And, full disclosure, I had the privilege of working with then Lieutenant Long at Baltimore City Police Department Internal Affairs, and I can tell you that the cases that were under her purview were always thoroughly investigated and properly disposed of. So thank you for transitioning over again where your expertise is needed. And I can see already that you have benefited from that. So thank you for your report and this information. And again, congratulations on your success. Anyone have any questions? We do appreciate that our colleges sit amongst us in our communities, are part of our communities, and we thank you for work that you do and that our work efforts, attention and concern for the community are all shared. Public safety is shared, and we thank you for your work.
Thank you for inviting us.
Our
You know,
next and
I
final.
I'm sorry. I just want to say greetings to Sherena. I just want to say hi to her as well. I know her very well too.
Baltimore gets around.
Yes. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well, Jacob.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will move to our next and final presentation by Romel.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
There you
Saving
go. I'll
me.
save you.
You saved me, thank you. I owe you one. Okay, and he is the Executive Director of No Stress, and we're just happy that you're with us.
Got it. Well, thank you so much for the invitation, Henry, and thank you everyone for allowing me to be here today. Just so you know, I'm the president of the board of directors for Nuestras Raíces, and for the sake of showing the board members our interaction here today, just wanted to warn you that I'm going to be voice recording my presentation, if that's okay, no opposition. Okay, very good. So thank you. I am, they left already, but I am an alum of Baltimore County Community College, primarily Dondak, and I took at least one class in all the two campuses before going to 2000 and graduated in 2003. And I almost joined the police, the Baltimore County Police Force in 2006, but life took me in a different direction. So here we are today. Today we're here to talk to you about our HAPA presentation. We're just hoping to have a conversation more than anything here, because we believe in conversation starts very good results for everything, right? I do have some handouts. Hopefully I have for everybody. So we're gonna be here for two purposes today. Kind of telling you a little bit about our organization and what we do, the role that we play, right? And then also some feedback from our community's interaction with the county police specifically. And at the end, we have some ideas to brainstorm for you to take back and potentially impact some changes. We're about impacting changes. First of all, we represent Nuestras Raíces. In English translation is our roots, right? So I'm gonna pass some handouts here, if you can, please. Okay, hopefully this, for everybody. And essentially, it's a nonprofit organization. We've been in business. We've been creative for over 5 years now. Our main purpose is two things: is to preserve and promote our Latino culture. Preserve in a way that our first, second, and third, and having many generations of U.S.-born children of Latino parents can definitely connect, even though they live here in the U.S., connect with the roots and the parents' roots through arts and cultural presentations from their native countries, right? The parents or grandparents' native countries. So that's the preservation part, right? Primarily there. Promotion is for everybody else, every other culture, just to show that as Latinos, we're more than just what the politicians and what the media portray us to be. You know, legal immigrants, primarily coming from Mexico, they're, you know, come here to be part of gangs and perpetrate crimes, right? That's pretty much what you hear, especially every 4 years when somebody's running for president. There's rhetoric to kind of like incite certain feelings and get votes. We're more than that. First of all, there's more than just Mexico. There's more than 20 countries of Latin American, right? The people from all over the Latin American, they come and live here. Some are residents of Baltimore County. The last statistics that I saw was that there were anywhere between 50 to 80,000 Latinos live in Baltimore County. Some of which, most of which are business owners. There's a great contribution to the county as business owners, right? And we'll speak a little bit more about that in a minute. But as Nuestra Raíces, our roots, we have two main projects, one of which is a physical space for called Casa de la Cultura, the House of Cultures, right? It's in the heart of Highlandtown in the city, but we have a very wide reach, so that's why I'm a county resident. I've been in this country 20-some years, 26, almost 27 years. 14 of those I live in the county, somewhere in the county, right? Right now I live in Rosedale. But Casa de la Cultura is a physical space where we, on a monthly basis, portray, present arts and cultural displays and artifacts from different countries in the Latin America, right? We have it every first weekend of the month. We're part of, there's an art walk in Highlandtown, which we have become part of it, where people literally get a glass of wine and they walk all over different, I think it's like 16 or different 20 art places there, shops or whatever. Casa de la Cultura is one of those. We have the display every month. Friday night from 4 to 8, and then we also have a art shop of some sort the next day from 11 to about 5 p.m. when children from our community, in most cases, they come in, they can draw, they can see all the art displays. So that's what we do on an ongoing basis. And then we also have Fiesta Baltimore, which is the largest Latino gathering in a festival form in the East Coast. This is our 5th year. The last 4 years we've had, even the year where we had the pandemic at its best, we had upward of 10,000 people descend on Patterson Park to celebrate, right? We have a parade that goes all down Eastern Avenue, all the way from Walgreen, the Walgreen on Eastern Avenue and Haven Street, up until the park. 2 hours of different display of arts of different forms from all over Latin America and other communities that also support us, right? That collaborate with us. As an organization, we tend not to get very directly into social services and stuff like that. There's many other community organizations that take care of that. What we do though is to partner selectively with organizations that want to definitely help the community. Our model is that we all volunteer, but only come here and join our board, our volunteer group of people, if you're actually gonna work. If you're just gonna come and chill, don't, just stay home. None of us get paid, and we all are doing, being told that we're doing a great job, right? And as such, I don't know how you guys got a hold of our name, but somebody says something, and here we are. So that's who we are, very specifically. In terms of the feedback, both as a county resident myself for more than 15 years, and also somebody who, at a personal level, have my own business in finances, awakening my community in terms of finances. I do interact with a lot of business owners. I do interact with a lot of, all over Maryland, but I live in Baltimore County, so Baltimore County is one of my main hubs, right? So I do interact with them, and the feedback is this, and even as a county resident, it's funny because everybody that I speak about is like, okay, when I'm in the county, I don't speed. When I'm in the county, I don't drink and drive. Not that they should be drinking and driving, because county police don't play. If you get pulled over, you're gonna be in trouble. So that's the first thing, right? The second thing is something personal by going all over Baltimore County and getting feedback from some of the businesses. The police presence is very in your face, is very good, which deter, prevent crimes, which is very effective, right? But there is a lack of people that culturally look like us. There is a lack of, like, even in this room, and please forgive me for being so direct, even in this room, I see somebody who looks, are you Latina? Mm-hmm. Okay, very good, I know my people. What's your name? Lorena, from Mexico?
No.
Where?
El Salvador.
El Salvador, very good. So the feedback is that there aren't a lot of Latino officers. There are a lot of, and then continue to come, a lot of Latino residents, right? And quite honestly, it's not the same if myself, for example, I speak English somewhat okay, I can communicate. But it's not the same that culturally there's certain body language, there's certain words, there's certain everything that is not the same communicating in your own native language. It's not a requirement, but it's a plus, right? Culturally, there's also some culturally differences that Latinos have, right? Which is important that somebody who's enforcing the laws, right? Or watching the things that the law is not breaking can definitely understand, even for domestic violence, right? For different issues. So the feedback is that there aren't a lot of Latino faces in the police department. I drive around all the time. If I've seen one or two, that's not to say I don't have the specific numbers, how many Latino, Spanish-speaking officers or Latino descent officers are in the police force in the county, but I don't see enough. So if there is a room for growth, is this a room for improvement? Definitely, if you guys can take back that back to the decision makers, maybe they're in the room, right? That is the feedback. The city has done a great job recruiting a lot of Latino officers. There are a lot of Latino officers that came already trained from New York, right? There are a lot of Latino officers that came already trained from Puerto Rico, for example, and from Florida, right? Where there's a longer standing cultural integration, and there are more Latino officers in there. It's necessary. You might even be able to get some officers that are not that pleased and how they're being kind of like handcuffed in a way in the city, right? Handcuffed by all the problems they had a couple years back. They feel like they're handcuffed in terms of prevention. They're reacting. I tell you that much. I have a lot of police officers, friend of mine, right, Latinos, from my country, the Dominican Republic, and from other countries that they feel handcuffed. They're reacting. They cannot actively prevent crime. Even if they see it on their face, they have to cut people red-handed for them to be able to act, right? Well, that's an environment that is not really what they sign up for. They sign up for preventing crime, but they handcuff. So you might be able in the county, which people that move to the county primarily does it from the city, right? Or they come from other places, and they decide to live in the county because the environment is different, housing is different. A lot of the streets are different, cleanliness, all of that stuff. So if you want to, improve some of that, you can get some officers from the city. I know you pay more than they do. So I know that much because I when I was trying to get into the force, I went to both. You guys were paying a lot more at that time. So I'm assuming that you kept pace, right? So very directly, that is the message that I have here today. Opening for a conversation for any questions. And we are partnering with a lot of different events that are happening all around the county. Like, for example, for the very first time, there's going to be a Latino collaboration, a Latino presence, purposely in the Donda community, in the Donda Heritage Festival. Now they're going to call it the Donda Community Heritage Festival as a a suggestion from us so the communities feel more connected, right? We're gonna be partnering with them, and this coming weekend, I have some flyers here. We're going to have, or they're going to have the Dondak Community Heritage Festival, and we're collaborating with them. We're gonna be there all 3 days, and then the last day, there's gonna be a section of the festival for Latino music, and if you wanna check, a little bit, some music over there. Sunday afternoon is the time to go, but go any other time and you're gonna see a difference, okay? Any questions?
Thank you so much.
One, the festival you're having in October.
Yes.
Are there spaces there for
Of course.
agencies that would be looking to hire?
Of course. Actually, we are expanding this year. We used to just do it on a Sunday from all day. But this year, we're actually expanding it to 2 days. So it's gonna be October 7th and 8th, if my memory doesn't betray me. Yes, 7th and 8th. And there are going to be spots available if you like to have a presence there and, set up a booth. We're gonna have people from all over, not just Maryland. We've got people all over from New York, Connecticut, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Virginia, South, and North and South, that come into this festival. And we have groups from all over as well. So if you want to go there to recruit some officers, that might be a very good exposure for you to have a booth there. This is my business card. If you want to get in touch with me, and if any of you want to share your business card as well, I welcome it as well.
Are we taking questions from community members or just from the TV? I have a question for it, but I don't know if community members are able to ask a question.
We have a portion for community comments at the end of our meeting.
Oh, okay. It was just related to his presentation, but I'll wait until then. Thank you.
Okay.
I don't have a question, I have a comment. I'm familiar with this organization. I'm a Dundalkian, you all know, I'm very proud.
Yes, we do.
They are in our 4th of July parade every year, and they're fantastic. And if you
that's
want
it.
to come to their events, they welcome you with open arms. They're a great organization.
Is it possible to forward this information from the Culture Festival to the police department?
Sure, we can discuss that, yeah. We'll make sure it gets.
Pass on.
Yep.
Yeah, I get the extras. A lot of people to pass that out to. Okay, that was it for me. If there isn't any other question.
Questions? And you said your question was directed at the
Yes.
information? Sure.
Yes. You mentioned, I do think representation is important.
Right.
Even within the PB group here and also within the police department. You did mention that Baltimore City experienced something, that something was Freddie Gray, right?
Right.
Individual who was murdered by police. And so that does impact the way that policing is being done. And I also work in Baltimore City, so I have experience working with the commissioner and with police and really with community members who were impacted by the killing of an individual.
Okay.
Do you think, you mentioned that your organization that you work with, which is incredible, doesn't really do much of the social services, and so you talked about representation within the police department that can be helpful,
Mm-hmm.
someone that speaks your language that's able to communicate with you. Do you think that there are other reasons why interaction with police and community members is not positive, right? Like with someone who is Latino or someone who's an immigrant, possibly undocumented, do you think those interactions are different? So if we're looking at the social services of things, I'm sure you've worked with GASA and other organizations
Right.
in Baltimore City, do you think that feedback around the interactions with police department would be different from their point of view?
Yes, I definitely think it would be, and there is, everybody has their history. So one of the things that culturally we can understand that perhaps other, even though they speak Spanish, may not have all the insight is that we come from countries where for years we have been oppressed and there's be a complete distrust of law enforcement, right? You have countries like yours that just went a civil war for so many years. You know, different military size and civilians fighting among each other. That had replicated, the same sentiment has replicated. So
Well,
Look like we lost him, Karen.
it does appear that way.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm sitting here just enjoying the conversation. I look up and there's nothing happening.
With blank. Well, how are you today?
Fantastic.
Good. See if I can send him a message.
Yeah. I feel like it's something. Video/chat. Audio. Sure she's not actually there. You can email her too. But I bet it went to sleep. I bet the computer went. Cool.
Send me.
Trying to get back on there.
Okay, no problem. So, and just to clarify, back in April, a motion was put on the table to amend the Baltimore County Police Accountability Board's rules of procedure to, let me pull up the language here, to amend paragraph I, subparagraph B, which goes through the rules of public attendance and participation, so that subparagraph B would read, a member of the public may be allowed to participate in the meeting in instances when the board expressly invites public testimony, questions, comments, or other forms of participation. Testimony, questions, comments, or other forms of participation shall be limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker. That essentially, for lack of a better word, codifies or puts into writing the time limits that a member of the public would have to speak, which changes it from the de facto 2 minutes, which have been in place since this winter. Just to provide information to others, there were 4 emails received from members of the public to the PAB in support of this amendment. Those were forwarded to members of the Police Accountability Board. There were no public comments opposed to the rule change. The method of soliciting public comment on our website, there was a notification at the very, very top of the page stating the proposed amendment and providing my contact information so that public comment could be received. So we have, again, 4 public emails in favor, none against, and because of the amendment provision of the rules of procedure, the vote was not unanimous at the initial April meeting, and so the matter got pushed to at least 30 days out because of the timing of the May meeting. That was just within 30 days, so it's in front of the board now for the June meeting. So as Madam Chair noted, this first period is an opportunity for any members of the public who have, again, not had the opportunity to comment or wish to comment again as to that proposed rule change. Following that, Madam Chair will call the roll as to the board member's position on said amendment to the rules of procedure.
Okay, so any comments on the proposed rule change amendment? But with no comment, then I would like to entertain present a motion to adopt the amendment to the bylaws. Motion would read as follows. Be it so moved that the Baltimore County Police Accountability Board hereby adopts amendment to paragraph 1, attendance, subparagraph B, participation of the Baltimore County Police Accountability Board Rules of Procedures, so that paragraph 1, I apologize, paragraph I, subparagraph B reads as follows. Participation. A member of the public may be allowed to participate in the meeting in instances where the board expressly invites public testimony, questions, comments, or other forms of participation. Testimony, questions, comments, or other forms of participation shall be limited to no more than 3 minutes per speaker. So motion, is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We will ask for a vote by roll call. District 1, Mr. Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
I would vote aye. District 2, Ralph Dennis. District 3 is absent. Mr. Chambers, District 4, your vote.
Did you hear me? Aye.
We can hear you now.
Aye, thank you, sir. And Renee is absent. District 6, again vacant. District 7,
Aye.
and our at-large members.
Or
Kara,
White, aye. Yes.
thank you.
Aye.
Thank you. And I'm not sure if my jury ever joined in. Okay, she then is absent. Upon receiving this vote of majority, the motion carries, and it will be adopted into changes into our bylaws. Thank you all so much. At this time, the floor is open to new business, and we are happy that we will have a report from our ACC representative.
We had our first meeting, today's June 26th. Sorry, June 9th. There are 5 members. I'm the designee from the PAB chair. The county executive appointed Joan Harris, Sharon, is that Connect? Connect. And then our board appointed Tiffany Justice and Christopher Sumi. We will begin hearing complaints being received July 1st. Our role is to receive the complaints, review the investigation done by the agency, Baltimore County Police Department. The committee will decide whether or not the officer involved, the named in the complaint, should be administratively charged or not. If that officer is charged, we will recommend discipline that is consistent with the statewide matrix, and that can be found on our website. We will review the whole file, including any body-worn camera footage and anything else relevant to the complaint. We will issue a written opinion that describes our findings in detail, and we know that the more detail we provide, the more feedback can come back to the PAB to make the recommendations to the agency and the county executive for what can be done to improve things. That will include the recommendations for discipline. That is sent to the police chief, the complainant, and the law enforcement officer. And the agency can accept that discipline, or they can increase it. So they can't go below it, but they can increase it, bless you, if they feel necessary.
Any questions?
So just to clarify, so your recommendation would establish like a floor.
I'm sorry?
The ACC's recommendation would establish like a floor for disciplinary action, and then the agency might go above that?
Yes, sorry, yes. But it's not willy-nilly. It's so we have to follow, the matrix. So, yeah, they can go above that if they want, but we have to follow something. So it's fair to everybody. I do personally have questions surrounding the copy of the opinion that goes to the complainant, because I know this is a personnel matter. So I'm going to ask at our meeting what the confidentiality rules the complainant is subject to receiving that written opinion, and what exactly I'm allowed to come back and report to the PAB. How much detail?
Thank you. We're gonna move now. Just wanna ask again, and we're just so open and willing to be notified of any other community events that are taking place where any of our members are going to speak. So please let us know if anyone has reached out to you to get a presentation at one of their community meetings, or if you know of a community meeting that you plan to attend, where you plan to make comments about the role of our board. We just want to be informed in the event that more of us can attend. And that if you have been asked to attend, if we can go with you or we can help provide other information, we'd be willing to do that. So does anyone have any community events scheduled at this time, or any requests that you be presenters at this time? Don't forget to give us that information if it does come in. Thank you. At this time, the floor is open for meeting, it's open for public comment.
We just changed the timer now that we've officially, that's all right.
We officially changed it.
Nope.
It'll take some time.
All right.
Reflecting on.
We got like Henry's nemesis. So.
I know.
And
It's gonna be, it does get loud some morning. There's no way to change the volume on it, unfortunately, so. Actually, I might go.
When it beeps.
All right, let's do that muted, because it's not, it's right in front of us, we can see it.
Do we just,
Any public comment?
yes.
If
Do
you
I
would
need to
just introduce yourself, please.
Okay,
Sure,
my name is
correct.
Lorena, pronouns are she, ella, and I went to the ACLU of Maryland. I just have a question about the ACC that you mentioned. You said that you will start reviewing complaints July 1st. Is that also the complaints that were received within the past year since the PAB was established? And if not, what happens to those complaints?
My understanding, I think Rebecca could correct me if I'm wrong, is because the county is under their collective bargaining, we will get everything received July 1st and beyond. So everything June 30th prior, it still falls under the agency. Is that correct?
Yeah,
I
that's
just wanna
right.
make sure I
So
stated
the
it all
law
correctly.
went into effect on a particular date, but it does not override current
The
contracts.
CBA? Okay.
So our contracts, the contracts that were in place at the time that the law changed, are ending July 1st when the new contract goes into place. So with the new contract, we shift into the new process.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And then I had a follow-up question if I still have time. Is there any updates on the vacancy for District 6? Is that something that we're allowed to ask?
Sure.
It's enhanced. Okay, Henry.
Yeah, I'll just provide an answer there. So yes, Scott Richmond was nominated for the position, has not received a vote yet by the county council. So that's where it stands right now.
Okay, do you know what the timeline is for public comment on Scott Richmond and any concerns that people might have around his nomination?
Sure, I think any comment can be sent to again, to the county council or to any other members involved in that decision-making process. At this point, it's up to the council to make that determination.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Is it here tomorrow?
No, it's gonna be later this summer. Yeah, we're just figuring out the time specifically.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Hi, I want to be where Kara is see me, so I'll come by you.
Sure.
I'm Cindy Farquar, and I live in Lockhearn. And I did have one question, but I guess I'll do this first. What I would like to say, I hope will be inspiring to all of us doing this important task. And what I'm bringing up is Yusef Salam, who was a member of the Central Park Five. So of course, that was the case where Tricia Milley, I believe her name was beaten and killed, raped. And so the question in my mind was, why did the police, why would I bring this up about the police, obviously? Why would the police arrest these 5 young men? The answer is that they were in the park, 4 were in the park, and they were brought in initially on reports of intimidating behavior and muggings. Because there was a rape and murder that night, the investigation spilled over into that. So after 7 hours of interrogation, beatings, no parents, no lawyers, all admitted that they were somehow involved with Tricia Milley. The DNA did not match any of the boys. They served between 4 and 12 years. And Yusef Salam served 7 years. He is now running, I'm happy to say, for city council in Harlem. So what he says is, I can repurpose the pain. And so I want to help me and other people here be inspired to the fact that we can be part of this repurposing of the pain, but only if we know why, again, back to the first question, these boys were, were brought in and then charged with this, was because the police could. It's a very simple answer, because the police could. So we want to make it so the police can't. So here's my question. I'm sorry, I should know this maybe, but when's the next meeting?
September.
Third Monday.
18th.
So it's third Monday, but it's September.
But that's the part, the 3 months. So I missed a meeting where you all decided this?
According to our
Only
statute.
have to, but you're not considering whether, in fact, a comment came out from the group here that some people wanted it to be once a month, that you're not considering that?
We did consider, and we know that we are.
Who's we? Again, I have
group-
to ask you, who considered?
The PAB,
And did you take a vote?
we did.
You can't take votes without the meeting, I don't think.
The vote was, and step back on that, it was, what I did was made the presentation that because it was in our statute, that I would have the ability to decide on meetings that were to meet other than what is required. And what is required is quarterly. And so what I did was propose to our committee that we would be consistent with our statute by meeting quarterly. And we will begin that with September. So it was at the meeting, not that we took the vote, it was at the meeting. And I made a presentation to the entire group.
So you made the decision.
Yes, I did. Any other public comments? And thank you so much for your continued interest in coming and sharing with us. If not, then I would entertain a motion for adjournment. Is there such a motion?
The date.
Okay. And so will be it so moved that the Baltimore County Police Accountability Board hereby adjourns until September 18th, 2023 at 12 p.m. Average time, it shall meet in room 118 of the historic House and Courthouse and via WebEx unless something happens in the interim where we have to change locations or site. With that, we stand adjourned, and thank you. Thank you all for coming.